Your first aid and hygiene kit. This little guy can cause quite a bit of controversy in the backpacking world. Just how prepared do you need to be when you venture out in your next trip? Well, in this two-part video series, I'm going to be going over the most common hygiene items and first aid concerns for backpackers. Guys, stay tuned. It's coming up next. Your first aid and hygiene kit is one of those areas where a lot of people definitely pack their fears, and an area where an unnecessary amount of weight can certainly make it into your pack. Now, what you pack certainly depends on the area you'll be hiking through and the length of time on trail between towns. My current philosophy revolves around a 5-day resupply, and on many of the long trails you'll encounter, it's fairly typical to expect that, on average, you'll be near civilization every, say, 3 to 5 days. This means that what I'm carrying needs to last me at least 5 days on the trail. I've combined all of my first aid and hygiene supplies into one small Cuban fiber stuff sack with a completely unnecessary but super cool first aid sticker. Right there. It's legit, right? Inside this lightweight sack of super sweet OCDness, I've packed items to address the situations we're all most likely to encounter while we're out sauntering along the trail. I said sauntering. If it's good enough for old John Muir, it's good enough for me.
Damn it! It's not hiking! It's sauntering!
Instead of just showing you the stuff I have in this bag, we're going to go over the most common ailments and hygiene considerations that we as hikers are going to run into out on the trail. What I have in my pack isn't going to work for everybody. Everybody's different. So as we delve into the topic, I'm going to suggest some alternatives and some things that I've seen work for other people as well. As with anything, do your research, put in some trail miles for yourself, and see what works best for you. Here's a list of the most common hygiene considerations and ailments we're most likely to encounter. Pain management, inflammation, fever, diarrhea, blood loss, infection prevention, insect repellent, water treatment, dental hygiene, eye care, sun protection, poop kit, allergic reactions, chafing, and blister management and prevention. The most common ailment you're going to encounter is pain. In fact, to a certain extent, pain will be unavoidable and a constant companion with you during your time on the trail. Sore feet, knees, shins, hips, and back are just some of the areas where pain will settle in as you adjust to your new life on the trail. For pain management, inflammation, and fever, ibuprofen is my go-to medication. And in fact, it's so commonly used on the trail that it's become known as vitamin I. And while ibuprofen works well at managing these problems on the trail, they can also help to mask early warning signs that your body is trying to give you. If you choose to use these magical orange pills, read the instructions and use them sparingly. Listen to what your body's telling you. Slow down, rest, take a 0 or 2. And if you use these tools to mask the pain, you're going to find yourself off the trail sooner than you think. For ibuprofen, most warning labels will tell you not to exceed 6 200 milligram doses in a 24-hour period. If I'm using my 5-day resupply calculation, that means that 30 tablets should be more than adequate for me and to share a few. 30 tablets fit perfectly inside of a small cardboard sliding match case like the Coleman ones I'm using here. A few wraps of duct tape around the cardboard box to make them last a bit longer, and bam, you're in business. The box and 30 pills check out at 0.56 ounces or 16.2 grams. Not too shabby. My second form of pain relief is a topical ointment of camphor and menthol used to relieve the pain and strain of sore muscles after you've decided you're ready to start busting out some 20s on the trail. You'll find this blend of ingredients under a bunch of different brand names. However, the one that I've used for years and found to be very effective is found under the trade name Tiger Balm. Not only does it help to soothe achy muscles, but it does a pretty good job at masking the stench of hiker trashiness that will be emanating from you after your long day up Blood Mountain. I first came in contact with this stuff while hunkering down in the upper loft of the partnership shelter on the AT. We had about 15 stinky hikers bedding down for the evening, many of those appearing to have gastrointestinal issues after the 20 boxes of pizza we all ate. One of those hikers, by the trail name of Sam Squatch, busted out some Tiger Balm and began liberally applying it to himself. The aroma of camphor and menthol filled the pungent air, and all was right in the world again. Seriously though, this is some pretty strong stuff, and not everybody may appreciate its aroma. Whatever you decide to use, you might not want to bring the entire container, like the glass one the Tiger Balm comes in. I put these magical creams inside of a small Go tub made by Human Gear for easy application and storage. Simply squeeze the side of the container to gain access. You can fit about 3/4 of the jar of Tiger Balm inside one of these tubs, and it checks in at just over ½ an ounce. One product that I've found that seems to work just as good, if not better, is a cream made by doTERRA called Deep Blue. This all-natural topical ointment is made from the sweat and tears of unicorns. Seriously, you're going to feel the magic immediately after putting the stuff on your skin. The combination of wintergreen, camphor, almond, menthol, peppermint, eucalyptus, blue chamomile, blue tansy, helichrysum, capsicum, and aloe combine to give your muscles the holiday they'll need after busting out a 44-miler during that 4-state challenge you decided to do in the middle of the winter.
Oh, I'm hurting.
Unfortunately, you've got to find yourself somebody who sells doTERRA products, as you can't find this stuff in stores. Luckily, my trail buddy Trips is big into natural remedies, so if you're interested, drop me a message and I'll put her in touch with you. Alright, we've covered pain, inflammation, and fever. Up next is one of hikers' favorite topics to discuss. Second only behind which all-you-can-eat Asian buffet you're going to hit up in the next town. Yep, you guessed it, diarrhea. Yes, that topic that all of us dread while out on the trail. The cause of diarrhea can come from a good many things. Infectious diarrhea picked up in the wilderness is caused by various bacteria, viruses, and parasites, or protozoa. The most commonly reported are the protozoa Giardia, Cryptosporidium, and the dreaded norovirus. Sharing contaminated food, unsanitary behaviors, and being in close proximity with those that have it are good ways of ensuring that everybody shares in the love. You know, people say that love is the best feeling, but I think finding a privy in the woods when you're having diarrhea is so much better. So, that last handful of trail mix you accepted from your new shelter buddy had a little funky do on it, if you know what I mean, and now you're feeling the pinch. It's always a great idea to carry some Imodium in your first aid kit. My second Coleman matchbox stores my diarrhea and antihistamine medications. Both of these are less commonly used than ibuprofen, however you definitely don't want to get caught out in the backcountry without these. Imodium products contain an active ingredient called loperamide, which works to slow your system to its normal pace. This helps to fight dehydration and allows the body to start absorbing fluids and salts as it should. So, you just sliced your finger open cutting that block of cheese you bought in the last trail town, and now you've got blood all over your brand new Melly that you paid 2 times as much for on Poshmark. Blood loss in the backcountry is something every backpacker should be prepared to deal with. Here are some essential items for controlling blood loss that can also be used in other areas of your hiking kit. Super glue is great for repairs to your clothing and gear, but can also be used to close small wounds to minimize scarring. According to the Mayo Clinic Health System, skin adhesive is an alternative that can be as effective as stitches when used on the appropriate wound. Usually that means a small wound, not very deep or wide, and not dirty or prone to infections, and not on highly mobile parts such as joints. There is a very small amount of toxicity that comes with using non-medical grade glue. However, most studies show that your body breaks down these chemicals rather quickly. Minor burning, irritation, and redness are common side effects. A small amount of triple antibiotic ointment like Neosporin is great to have in your kit. Instead of bringing the larger tube of it, transfer a small amount to a cosmetic sample bottle with applicator like I've done here. These bottles themselves are super ultralight and should be enough to address any antibiotic needs you have while out on the trail. I've got a link below in the video to pick up your own micro applicator. Leukotape is a hiker's best friend. This stuff sticks, and man does it last even after getting wet. After cleaning off your wound and applying a dab of antibiotic ointment, use a small bit of clean toilet paper or cut down a small section of dry wet wipe to cover the injury. Slap a bit of Leukotape on the top, and you've got yourself a great Band-Aid that you don't have to worry about coming off. Leukotape truly is the MacGyver of the backpacking world. From Band-Aids to blister prevention to anything imaginable you might need some repair tape for, this stuff shouldn't be left out of your kit. My last item for blood control is a product called Wound Seal. It's a hemostatic agent used for deep, uncontrollable cuts, like the bloodbath you just started on your 12-year-old block of cheddar you were going to have for dinner. I discovered the magic of this product when Trips decided to lop off her fingertip cutting vegetables for dinner one afternoon. I ran in my backpack first aid kit and grabbed this micro miracle and applied it to her finger. The only downside is, apparently it's like getting hit by a Mack truck of pain.
That shit hurt like a bitch.
But the bleeding stopped instantly. One small package only weighs a few grams and will now always have a small home in my repair kit. So here's a quick bonus tip for blood loss. Speaking of really bad stuff happening on the trail, the need for a tourniquet is extremely rare. However, most people don't know that you probably already have one in your kit. Most Columbia-style hiker pants, like the Silver Ridge, all come with a standard lightweight nylon belt. This thing can be used in a pinch with your aluminum or titanium spoon to create a quick tourniquet. Bandanas, bear lines, and cut-up clothing can all be used in a pinch. Again, it's going to be a very rare event that you're going to need to perform something like this. However, it's one of those backcountry and front country skills that's awesome to have in your quiver of knowledge. It's always been a controversial topic. However, in some applications and situations, it's either that or death. Up next is a topic those of us that frequent the backcountry absolutely dread: bugs. I don't think I can tell you one person who enjoys being stung by a swarm of mosquitoes or digging out a tick that's embedded itself in your skin. The potential for disease transmission is enough to keep many people out of the backcountry altogether during times of high bug activity. For those of us who choose to take our chances, it's important that we do everything that we can to ward off these little demons. The good news is, there's lots of options out there with varying degrees of effectiveness and controversy. There are two products that immediately come to mind that do an excellent job at keeping most biting creatures away from your skin. The first is DEET. DEET is one of those nasty chemicals that's been used now for years in various concentrations. It was developed by the U.S. Army in 1946 for protection of soldiers in insect-infested areas and has been used by the general public in the U.S. since 1957. It's definitely effective, especially at the higher concentrations, warding off mosquitoes, biting flies, fleas, and ticks. But unfortunately, it does come at a cost. People that have left higher concentrations of DEET products on their skin for extended periods of time have experienced irritation, redness, rashes, and swelling. DEET, which is a plasticizer type chemical, can cause damage to other plastics, including synthetic or treated fabrics. It won't damage natural fibers like cotton or wool. DEET has a tendency to melt certain types of plastics and will harm paint and varnish surfaces. Always follow the label and do your best to avoid ingesting any amount of this product. If you're looking to avoid DEET but want something that's proven to work, Picaridin might be right for you. It's a synthetic compound first made in the 1980s. It was made to resemble the natural compound piperin, which is found in the group of plants that are used to produce black pepper. Picaridin has been widely used as an insect repellent in Europe and Australia, but it's only been available in the United States since 2005. Picaridin does a great job at repelling mosquitoes, ticks, and chiggers, and doesn't have the nasty side effects of DEET. It's also safe on your gear, so you don't have to worry about melting the picture of your face that's on the side of your brand new Hilltops bear bag you just got. Permethrin is the last of the big three chemicals that is extremely effective against insects. Permethrin affects the central nervous system in insects, causing muscle spasms, paralysis, and death when they come in contact with it. Permethrin is more toxic to insects than it is to people and dogs. This is because insects can't break down the chemical inside of their bodies like humans and dogs can. You should avoid contact with cats, as they're more sensitive to permethrin than dogs or people because it takes their bodies a long time to break it down. Permethrin is normally applied to your clothes and outdoor gear rather than sprayed directly on your body. This provides a fantastic odorless barrier of protection. A single application of permethrin lasts for 6 weeks or 6 washings. Using it on your outdoor gear also helps reduce the mosquito population in your camp and prevents ticks from attaching to you. For those of you who want to avoid man-made chemicals altogether, fortunately there are a number of natural remedies that do work to varying degrees. Used since the 1940s, lemon eucalyptus oil is one of the more well-known natural repellents. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention has approved eucalyptus oil as an effective ingredient in mosquito repellent. A recent study from the National Institute of Health showed that a mixture of 32% lemon eucalyptus oil provided more than 95% protection against mosquitoes for 3 hours. Lavender oil can be used as a bug repellent for both humans and pets when they venture outside. Unfortunately, its effectiveness is only about 30 minutes to an hour. Lavender has analgesic, antifungal, and antiseptic qualities, which means that in addition to preventing mosquito bites, it can also calm and soothe the skin. Citronella is a lemon-scented oil derived from a plant that repels mosquitoes. It's not as effective or long-lasting as DEET, and it has a high evaporation rate. Citronella can be found in lotions or candles for outdoor use. Citronella applied to the skin provides approximately 30 minutes to 2 hours of protection from mosquitoes. Citronella oil products are not recommended for use on infants and toddlers. Geranol or geranium oil. One of the best-known brands to use geranium oil is Bite Blocker. The studies on this organic repellent vary greatly in its effectiveness, from just over an hour to as much as 7 hours. It's thought that the combination of geranium oil and coconut oil contribute to its success, although neither one of them alone is as effective as DEET. Pure cinnamon oil is particularly effective at killing mosquito larvae, as well as acting as an all-purpose insect repellent. By adding a few drops of cinnamon oil to your favorite lotion or sunscreen, you can make your own natural and safe insect repellent. Donald R. Lewis of Ohio State University's Department of Entomology reports that lemon thyme is approximately 62% as effective at repelling mosquitoes as DEET. Crushing lemon thyme leaves and rubbing the oil on your skin can cause certain skin reactions in some people. Of course, before applying lemon thyme oil liberally on your body, test your skin's tolerance on a small inconspicuous spot on your body. Now, there are many different types of thyme. Make sure you purchase lemon thyme if your objective is repelling mosquitoes. Catnip. The same active ingredient that drives cats crazy when distilled into an essential oil can also prevent mosquitoes from spotting you with their hypersensitive olfactory organs. In research completed by Iowa State University's Entomology Department in 2001, they found that mosquitoes were up to 10 times more sensitive to catnip compared to commercially available DEET. Insect repellents that contain 2% soybean oil provide approximately 1 to 4 hours of protection from mosquitoes when applied to the skin. One of the shortest lasting repellents, it is however safe to use on infants and children. Tea tree oil is known for its antiseptic, antimicrobial, and anti-inflammatory properties, but recent studies also suggest that this oil may be effective as an insect repellent. Field testing shows that repellents containing tea tree oil are effective against mosquitoes, bush flies, and biting midges. The last of the 10 natural remedies is neem oil. An extract from the tropical neem tree, neem oil has an insecticidal compound called azadirachtin. A 2% concentration of neem oil has been shown to be 56% effective for up to 4 hours. Essential oils should never be put directly on the skin. They're always diluted in a carrier oil, such as almond oil. It's also possible to have allergic reactions from the active ingredients in essential oils. Before using any new product, spot test the product on a small section of your skin and wait an hour or two to make sure that hives or burning sensations don't occur. Of course, I'm not a doctor and none of this should be construed as medical advice. And as with all wound care, do your research and consider taking a class with NOLS, the National Outdoor Leadership School. These classes are taught across the country at many locations, including REI, and will help you to prepare yourself for a safer trip into the backcountry.